Lots of states have regulations on fish, and a lot of people ask, well, why? I mean, why do I have to know how big fish has to be before I can keep it? So, Chuck, can you tell us a little bit more? Why is it important to have regulations from state to state?
Well, the regulations try to keep the fishing level at what we call optimum and sustainable so that you have fish to catch in the future and as well as catch fish at the moment. So things like minimum sizes can be used to try to keep fish from being caught before they're reproductive or just to lower the number of fish that are caught in general. This red grouper that we caught today, minimum size on that one is 20 inches, and that's total length. So you close the mouth, pinch the tail, and take the total length, and that's 22 inches. So that's a legal fish.
And sometimes I've noticed when you look at the regulations, they have slots, so they have a minimum and maximum. Why do they have that special middle range for some particular species?
And again, that'll be either trying to protect fish of certain ages or, again, trying to keep the catch at a certain level so that a certain number of fish escape and have a good chance to reproduce.
So besides size limits, they have closed seasons, quantities. Why is that important for maintaining fish populations?
Well, again, the idea is to keep enough fish escaping the fishing pressure to replenish the stocks. So they'll close areas, say spawning areas. They may have closed seasons, again, a spawning season. And again, the bag limit is to just reduce the overall mortality from fishing.
Well, we made it back safe and sound. I don't know about you, but I learned a lot about proper catch and release techniques. And we did catch some keepers. Isn't this a beautiful fish? Man, I'm Bush. I'm gonna go take a nap. With the sun setting over Cedar Key, my thoughts turn towards dinner and a good night's sleep. Nighty-night. So, you had a successful fishing day. Now what to do with the fish remains? As you can see, I have some visitors behind me waiting for handouts. Unfortunately, many people will feed the remains to pelicans and other water birds. One should never feed scraps to birds. Why shouldn't we feed water birds? First of all, when fed, water birds will lose their fear of humans. They will congregate around fishing spots and aggressively try to steal bait or fish from you. Not only does this annoy fishermen, but also lots of pelicans hanging around fishing areas can cause injuries to the birds themselves. It is not uncommon for pelicans to become tangled in fishing line or have their bills and bodies hooked. Hooks and lines can prevent pelicans from fishing, and they will slowly starve to death. Now look at the size of these bones. Pelicans normally eat small to medium-sized fish, which they can swallow and digest. Typically, legal-sized fish are much too large for pelicans. However, pelicans, they just can't say no to a handout, and they will attempt to swallow any fish. As a result, the bones puncture their pouch or become lodged in their throat or stomach, and if this happens, the pelican will die. Solutions? First, never give out any fish scraps to pelicans or other water birds, no matter how small the scrap is. As mentioned before, tamed birds will cause lots of problems around fishing areas. Second, never leave your pole unattended, especially with bait on it. An aggressive pelican will attempt to steal the bait and become hooked or tangled in the line. Third, properly dispose of fish waste. Either cart it home and dispose in the garbage can, or utilize local receptacles that are authorized for fish scraps. One unique solution is to install a fish waste tube at a dock. Located next to a cleaning station, people can dump scraps into a PVC tube that extends underwater. The fish remains go underwater and the current takes it out to sea. The birds have no chance of getting to these remains. Another potentially harmful byproduct of fishing is monofilament line. Discarded fishing line can injure wildlife. For example, fishing line tangled on the feet of birds can trap the birds at their roost site. The line gets wrapped around a branch and the bird cannot break free and slowly starves to death.
Monofilament fishing line is great for fishing. It's practically invisible and very strong. However, discarded fishing line is known to entangle birds, dolphins, fish, manatees, and sea turtles.
Discarded monofilament can last up to 600 years in the marine environment. That is a long time, and the same line can entangle many different wildlife species.
So, what can you do? Discard monofilament line into these recycling bins. These bins can be found on various docks and piers. Simply wad up the discarded line and place it into the container.
The neat thing about this program is that the line is actually recycled and made into other plastic products. Volunteers maintain most recycling containers found near piers. To recycle the line, they first remove the line from the bottom of the container. Then, they place it into an envelope and mail it to a recycling company in Iowa.
So what if you don't have these recycle bins nearby? You can dispose of fishing line in garbage cans, but be sure to cut up the line into pieces of 12 inches or less. You know, fishing line from garbage cans can be scavenged by animals and dragged back out into the environment.
One of the best things you can do is take care and not let your line get caught. And if you do see line hanging from trees or floating in the water, take time to remove it. To learn how to set up monofilament recycling bins in your area, contact your local county extension office.
So you were extra careful but you accidentally hooked a pelican. What to do? I'm going to show you how to properly catch, hold, and remove fishing line and hooks from a pelican.
You first have to catch the bird. To demonstrate, we used a white pelican borrowed from Homosassa Springs Wildlife State Park. Ironically, the bird we used lost a wing because of fishing line. Now, you may be wary of handling a pelican, but pelicans are typically not dangerous and you can catch them without any injury to yourself or the bird.
How do you get close enough to the bird? Because many of these pelicans are relatively tame, entice the bird in with some bait or fish. Now doesn't that look yummy? Only as a last resort, reel the bird in because the bird may struggle from pain and the hook may sink deeper. Now when you're close, grab the bill and then somebody throw a towel over the head so it cannot see. The darkness will actually calm the bird. Next, fold the wings against the body and hold the pelican. This is important. Do not hold the bill too tightly because the pelican cannot breathe. Pelicans do have nostrils called nares, but they aren't functional and pelicans can't breathe through them. Thus, grasp the bill lightly and leave a crack for air to go in and out. Once you have the bird, have somebody else remove the hook or the line. If the hook is embedded on the outside of the bird, you can remove it. I'm going to demonstrate with this pseudo pelican. First, push the hook through the pelican until you see the barb. Next, I'm going to snap it off with these wire cutters, but before you do that, cover it up a little bit with some cloth so the barb doesn't fly off and hit you, and then snap it off. Once the barb is out, slowly back the hook out of the pelican. Do not attempt to take the hook out with the barb in it, as this will severely injure the bird.
If you are uncomfortable handling the bird, or the pelican is just too frantic, cut the line as close as you can to the hook or lure. Do not leave much line, as the pelican can become entangled in a tree and slowly die. You can come back later or the next day with more people to capture the pelican, as it will usually return to the same spot.
Remember, when releasing the bird, the last thing you want to do is let go of the bill. If the pelican is injured or weak, or it swallowed the hook, take it to the nearest wildlife rehab facility. They have techniques to safely remove swallowed hooks and take care of injured birds. Today we learned all about sustainable fishing. Do you remember the important points? Let's review. Bring proper fishing equipment along and try to use circle hooks and have de-hooking and venting tools.
Be sure to get the current fishing regulations guide. Regulations tend to change every 6 months. For example, the regulations for gag and red grouper quoted in this program may be outdated by the time you go fishing. Most states have their fishing guidelines online. Be sure to check these out before heading out to fish. Each person can help maintain fish populations by following local regulations. Use circle hooks because they are easy to remove. Handle fish with wet hands or a wet towel, and handle the fish as little as possible so that you leave the protective slime on their body. For bloated fish, be sure to vent the body cavity. Letting the air out of the fish will allow it to return to deeper water and live to see another day.
Never feed water birds fish scraps. You see the size of these bones? They can seriously injure a bird. Even feeding small scraps, such as this, can make them lose their fear of you. They become aggressive and will become a nuisance.
Properly dispose of all fishing line so that it cannot hurt wildlife. Use the recycle bins if located in your area, or cut the line and place in a garbage can. If you accidentally hook a pelican, capture the pelican and remove the hook. Do not rip out the hook or just cut the line and let the pelican fly away. In tough situations, take the bird to the nearest wildlife rehab facility. For more information, visit the Living Green website or contact your local county extension office.
That's it for today's show on Living Green. You can have a healthy and safe fishing experience, both for you and for the environment. Now, I'm going to see if I can catch another fish.